Now, ready? And we're live. Welcome, everybody, here to the Lakers Down podcast. I'm Anthony Irwin on vacation. As you guys can tell from the state of the technology surrounding me, I am out of my comfort zone. I am in my old bedroom. This is just how these things are going to go for the next, I think, 2, maybe 3 shows. This one Sunday, and then I'll be back home the following Tuesday. And in the meantime, right, we're looking for things to talk about. And today on the show, we are going to talk about the reasons to be optimistic about the Lakers. Obviously, it was not the offseason that we all had in mind. Obviously, there are boxes that were left unchecked, but it was still a pretty good team last year. And actually, the second half of the year, an actually good team once Darvin Ham kind of got out of the way. So today on the show, we're going to be talking about reasons to be optimistic. It's no fun to be sitting here in the middle of July, months from the season, looking at the negative side of things. Trust me, that is my life. That is how I look at things. I'm always going to be looking for reasons to be let down. But seeing as it's July, and seeing as I watched over the last 24, 36 hours or so, I watched Nuggets fans try to talk themselves into Russell Westbrook and actually talk themselves into Russell Westbrook. So if they can do it, we can, right? Like if we could see those idiots over there convincing themselves it's going to work out, Russell Westbrook is totally going to assume a small and totally be fine coming off of the bench for the entirety of the season. He's totally going to be great with sitting in crunch minutes or crunch time minutes for the likes of Christian Brown. Absolutely kind of thing that he's going to be looking forward to. And yeah, you're right. All of you Nuggets fans who have been yelling at me for the last 24, 36 hours, whatever, about how he accepted that role with the Clippers. Of course, he's going to be willing to do it again. We'll go ahead and ignore the fact that right after the season, we had a tell-all from Shams Charania talking about how the Clippers and Russell Westbrook were looking for a split from each other immediately after the season because they were sick of dealing with each other because Russell Westbrook didn't like coming off of the bench. We'll ignore all that. Water under the bridge. Totally something that Nuggets fans, it's worked for so many other teams employing Russell Westbrook in the playoffs. It's why could there possibly be any reason for doubt? So my point here is that if Denver fans can talk themselves into Russell Westbrook, we fans can talk ourselves into a 47-win team that had an actively detrimental head coach that had dealt with enough annoying injuries over the course of the season to have a real impact on the team, and will hopefully be bolstered by some young talent either being added to the roster or improving. And we'll talk about all those reasons for optimism. A quick reminder, please do hit that subscribe button wherever it is that you get your podcast. And specifically right now, if you guys are watching on YouTube, just go right underneath this video. It says it right there. Hit that subscribe button. It's also right there too. It's that jumpy, bouncy thing. Now that isn't a link. I've debated whether or not to make that a link. So if you want, I can make that a link, but it's telling you right there, subscribe. So what I'm going to be doing on the show, though, like I said, looking for reasons for optimism and then answering whatever questions that you guys have at the end of the episode. I think this is going to be somewhat shorter because my daughter is currently in the pool and I would like to be in there with her. So let's go ahead and dive on in to reasons to be optimistic about the 2024-2025 Los Angeles Lakers. All right. First reason is let me think. I'm drawing a blank. I don't know. I'm kidding. All right. The first reason here, I think, to start with is yes, obviously last year, the Lakers benefited from having LeBron and AD healthy for the majority of the season. It's why Darvin Ham was fired, is because they had LeBron and AD healthy. They both had all NBA caliber seasons, and Darvin left the season with nothing to show for it. They were good enough in the regular season to not have to be in the play-in, and then they also obviously exited the playoffs shortly after making it through the play-in. So that is where you start when you talk about injuries, and knock on wood that the Lakers have more injury luck there, or continue to have that injury luck where LeBron and AD are able to stay healthy all year. But then if you look at the types of injuries and like the way the injuries came about, I do think there's something to be said about like hoping that doesn't happen again, because for whatever reason last year you would have these groupings of injuries. You would have basically all year, your point of attack defense was suboptimal because Gabe Vincent and Jared Vanderbilt were just like not available for most of the year. And then you would also randomly have one stretch where they had no wings, despite going out of their way to employ wings, because again, Jared Vanderbilt missed a bunch of time. Rui Hachimura was in the lineup for a couple stretches here and there. Cam Reddish started the year well, but then kind of turned his ankle and then was dealing with injuries basically from that point forward. Injuries and moping. I think we need to point out also that Reddish is the kind of guy who has a history over the course of his college and professional career of, pulling a hammy when he doesn't appear to be getting minutes or whatever. So you had all of that, and when you miss all of your wings, the most important position in professional basketball or in just modern basketball, it's going to really throw your season for a wrench. I'm not saying that we should be hoping for no injuries, because that'd be unrealistic. There is no injury setting to turn off in real life. It'd be great. I pulled my calf muscle walking around it at Disneyland. I would love to be able to turn injuries off and not dealing with this and be worried about blowing my Achilles with every step. But unfortunately, that isn't how this is going to work. But what we can maybe hope for is that when the Lakers do deal with injuries, they aren't as clumped together positionally or, in terms of skill set at the same time over the course of the year. If the Lakers get a little bit more injury luck in that regard, to where, yeah, maybe one of your guards actually pulls a hammy and they miss some time, but you do still have the other two main guards on your roster, and then maybe Connect is able to help in some spot minutes as well. Cool. Maybe one of your wings goes down for a little while, but the other two guys are still available there, while LeBron and AD are also there to kind of pick up the slack as need be over the course of the year while guys deal with injury. Or let's say, if AD gets hurt, you're screwed. Like you have Christian Wood, you have Jackson Hayes, you have Colin Castleton, and those guys just aren't going to be anywhere near good to make for AD going down, because the Lakers defense is basically, hey dude, can you fix this? It's just they just are not equipped to be able to handle that kind of a loss. They're a little bit more capable, I think, of making up for LeBron missing some time here and there. Not obviously hoping that we have to see it or see this theory play out, but with D'Angelo Russell, with Austin Reeves, with Gabe Vincent, and with Anthony Davis maybe playing as more of a hub on offense, maybe the Lakers offense is able to withstand a stretch or so of LeBron maybe being out. But aside from that, right, if either of those guys miss legitimate time, then the season is just over. And there really isn't anything that they could do to make up for it roster wise, in terms of transactional tweaks to be able to make up for that kind of a loss. That opportunity flew out the window as soon as the Lakers traded for Russell Westbrook, and has never returned ever since, because that was just that crippling of a move. But in terms of like the injuries, if you get something from Gabe Vincent this year, if you get something from Jared Bolt, this year, then that in and of itself is where I think the vast majority of Lakers fans are kind of pointing to, where, if you're hoping that this team can at least be as good wins and losses wise as last year, and maybe keep pace with a Western Conference that is still tough. Although I think in aggregate, I would say maybe the West got a little bit worse. OKC got better. Minnesota didn't really do anything. Memphis got better because their guys are going to be healthy, but Denver got worse. The Clippers got worse. The Kings, I think, got a little bit worse. I don't like the Rosen fit there. The Warriors, wait to see if they're able to trade Lowry Markkanen, but as it stands right now, they basically just lost Chris Paul, and it's, a couple tweaks here and there, but it's not like an overwhelming roster. You have the Lakers. Houston probably going to be a little bit better, I think. Their offseason was a little befuddling to me, too. Phoenix got, a little bit better. We'll see how Budenholzer is able to, or Budenholzer, or Coach Bood, as we like to call him. We'll see what he's able to do there. But the West, I think, in general, maybe took a slight step back. And I think that might help the Lakers here, especially if they get a little bit of a little bit better injury luck than they had last season. The next one is a pretty easy one, right? You guys heard me. I turned into the Joker, right? This exists.
This is why I look like this, everybody. This is why I'm losing my mind.
That clip exists because of Darvin Ham's coaching. Like I did my boy Sean from Lakers Nation's show, and he started the show asking me like, all right, tell me about that clown picture that has become a meme for me. Every time I tweet something that people disagree with, you see the still image of me in that clown makeup. But that exists because Darvin Ham was like like that whole getup, that clip exists because Darvin Ham was just that bad over the course of the year. And you are swapping out Darvin Ham. Like I'd feel a lot better if you were swapping Darvin Ham out for a more proven head coach. Unfortunately, that head coach wasn't really on the market unless you want to count Budenholzer as that kind of proven commodity. The Lakers, I don't think, wanted to pay for a Budenholzer, so they were never really in the mix for him. But the move from Darvin Ham to JJ Redick, I think, I would say is at the very least a slight upgrade because, Darvin was only in his second year and was, again, really, really, really bad at this. It's really bad when Anthony Davis, who is not like, he demanded out of New Orleans, but he isn't the kind of guy to like, mope and pout and, really throw a coach under the bus the way that he was willing to with Darvin Ham last year. That was pretty out of the ordinary when he went like that far so as to like really make it known Darvin was a problem. And I think, if JJ just, I don't know, plays the Lakers' best players, then the Lakers are a better team, right? Now you don't have the opportunity. The kind of hipster lineup that I think I would have liked to have seen too was Austin, Max, Prince, LeBron, AD, or like Austin, Max, Rui, LeBron, AD, which is still possible. That second one is still possible. The first one obviously isn't. Torian went with his BFF AE in Milwaukee. But, if the Lakers just, find an identity early and then stick with that identity, that in and of itself would be more than Darvin Ham ever established over the course of the year. I think that identity of being bigger, faster, stronger is, I think, still on the table, especially if the Lakers are good enough early to be able to go into the trade deadline with the idea of, making a couple tweaks here and there. So I think that, not having Darvin Ham will be a tangible shot in the arm compared to what things were like last year, where game in, game out, it was either a bad start or a bad stretch coming into the third quarter, or the Lakers just looked unprepared for a certain thing that a team was getting ready to do. No matter what it was, the Lakers just, because of Darvin, were at a consistent and marked, like noticeable coaching disadvantage. Like every game that the Lakers played in, basically, you were just waiting for Darvin to screw it up. And I think this year with JJ stepping in, he'd have to be out disaster to be worse. Which I guess is on the table because he's never coached before. But I think that with LeBron's buy-in right from the get-go, and with Anthony Davis's buy-in right from the get-go, the Lakers will be in a better spot than they were last year from a coaching standpoint. The one thing that I'm a little nervous about is that this coaching staff is not anything to write home about. Talk to some people around the league, and they aren't exactly running for the hills because of the strategic advantage the Lakers are going to have because of the guys that they put around JJ Redick. It's just not an overwhelming coaching staff. Now it could come together, it could mesh, and between buy-in from LeBron James and buy-in from Anthony Davis and buy-in from the rest of the roster, as that trickles down, that culture trickles down, maybe it just winds up being a good enough fit that the personnel gets all of the personnel on and off the court gets lifted up by that chemistry. But as it stands right now, it's a okay. I would say it's like an average coaching staff, maybe slightly below average, but I would say about an average coaching staff when you factor in everything that the Lakers brought in and the roles that various coaches are going to slot into. But look, it doesn't matter. Average is still a sizable upgrade from last year. So if they're average from a coaching perspective and the Lakers get a little bit of injury luck compared to last year, then now you're really cooking with some grease. Now you're really cooking with some, man, I miss my grandma used to cook with lard. Back at a time where like I could eat that stuff and my metabolism would keep up. Now I like say lard and my cheek, I develop another chin. But cooking, if you get a little bit of injury luck and JJ is a noticeable upgrade over Darvin Ham, now all of a sudden that 47 win total creeps up to 50 or 51, and that's probably enough to keep you out of the play-in. The last one here is that, look, you still employ LeBron James and you still employ Anthony Davis. And if you've watched either of those guys play so far in the Team USA exhibition games that they played so far, they look pretty effing good. Anthony Davis, you can make a real argument for being the best player so far on Team USA in terms of impact every time he steps onto the court. And LeBron has been overwhelming when he has felt the need to be overwhelming. So long as LeBron has that 102-mile-an-hour fastball that he can throw every so often, and the Lakers only need it every so often, then, that's the reason to be optimistic. If Anthony Davis is able to, he looks a little bit more explosive in these games so far. I know some people were kind of wondering, based off of some images that came out of him after the season, if he had lost a little bit of weight. If he has lost a little weight and is able to regain some of that explosiveness that made him special for the Lakers, made him a full-time 5, then that is an upgrade over last year's Anthony Davis. And last year's Anthony Davis was really effing good. So when you have LeBron James and you have Anthony Davis, that right there is the place to start. That is the starting point that I think the vast majority of the league's executives and coaches wish that they could start from. So if you're able to, if those guys are able to stay healthy and LeBron is bought into JJ Redick's system and Anthony Davis, is also bought in to that system, that right there is the reason and the only reason that the Lakers will be able to do anything. Those two guys, they are just that special. That's why I lose my mind every time Rob Pelinka, basically doesn't do his job, because those guys are that special, but they are still that special. And so long as you have those guys, that's the starting point that you need to, that I can understand why Lakers fans look at those two guys, especially while they're playing right now. They say Lakers will be fine. I think we should be hoping for a little bit more fine while they employ those guys, but they'll be fine. And if you get that injury luck and you get Darvin and LeBron and AD are still LeBron and AD, then all right, now you got something. And that to me is like, if you want to, be in a good mood and you want to, just kind of be able to enjoy your offseason despite Rob Pelinka being terrible at his job, those are the 3 points. That's it. Maybe even the fourth is the one that I hit on earlier about the Western Conference taking a bit of a step back. Actually, you know what? I think that's worthy of a bullet point in and of itself. Let's go ahead and talk about the Western Conference and the league in general. So I have ranted and raved, obviously, about the new CBA, and I still think it's a disaster. I do think it's the kind of thing that is going to hurt the league more than it is going to help. But with Adam Silver basically legislating parity, this does mean that, parity. If and we've seen it. The Nuggets, as we talked about earlier, had to let Kentavious Caldwell-Pope walk for nothing, and then are hoping to make up for it with Christian Brown's improvement and with whatever Russell Westbrook is able to bring. Before that they lost Bruce Brown, so that's the team that's the big bully that the Lakers haven't been able to do anything with, and perhaps with them getting a little bit worse, that helps the Lakers. And just throughout the league, like as this CBA wreaks havoc on what teams are going to be trying to do, it's going to bring the top of the league down a little bit, and it's probably not going to have too much impact on the middle of the league. So if the Lakers stay basically where they were last year, or even take a bit of an uptick because of the factors that we talked about earlier, and the rest of the league comes down a little bit to them, that gap, goes from, that big to, manageable. It's like Raj always says, right? When the Lakers are down by like 15 in the second quarter, he's always like, all right, just get it to 10. Get it to 10 before the half. Let's make this thing a game. Let's get it to 7. Let's make this thing a game. And I think because of this new CBA, they've gotten a little bit of help, and that 15-point lead has shrunk down to like a 8-point lead, and that the rest of the league or the rest of the conference has on the Lakers. And what that will look like and what impact that will have, I think is obviously still to be seen. But again, the point of this episode is to look for any and any reason to be optimistic, and this, I think, is a major one. Is what the league's desire for parity is going to mean for those teams that are competing in it. And I it's kind of a cop out for me to basically say like everybody's worse. What that's still the case. It might be a cop out, but it doesn't mean it isn't true. So with everybody getting a little bit worse, maybe, just maybe, the Lakers luck out and they're able to kind of stick in that pack a little bit more. Now, while all of that is said, right, what parity means is that those margins become that much more important, and that's why I wish the Lakers cared about the margins. But maybe they'll figure it out eventually. Probably not, because I don't think Rob Pelinka in this front office is very good. But if you are able to start to make marginal upgrades here and there, and stop worrying about winning championships with every move, though that you could really take advantage of this new CBA. So again, I think the CBA will help. The Lakers just need to find a better way to take advantage of it. All right, let's dive on into your comments here. I'm trying to find. Yeah, I'm trying to find any additional questions or comments. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I apologize, everybody. The quality of the internet here is not great. My parents don't have the same. I pay the most that I possibly can pay for internet bandwidth and all that stuff back home in my office and all that. I have a booster in my office to make sure that my stream is a lot better, but unfortunately, this is the best I can do right now. So I'm going to go ahead. I don't see any additional comments here, and I'm going to oh, all right, fine. Here's a good question. I don't, whatever your name is. No comment on Bronny playing better because you had plenty when he was dog shit. All right, that's fine. I'll go there. Let's talk about this. One, I'm happy that Bronny is playing better. Like, I more than anything, I hope that you guys take from this that I have legitimately been pulling for Bronny because I think he's been put in a tough, if not impossible situation by a bunch of people who don't have his best interest in mind. Um, I think this has all been about LeBron wanting to play with his son more so than looking for what is the best for Bronny right now. Because the best for Bronny right now, I think pretty damn near objectively speaking, is for him to be at USC to get another year of development down there without the pressure of playing with his dad or without the pressure. Because look, if LeBron is fine with Bronny sitting there all year and developing in the Lakers system, then cool, awesome. Just like I said about Russell Westbrook, if Russ was actually open to that kind of a role, a lesser role, then cool, it'd be great. It'd make a whole bunch of sense for everybody. But, however, Russ has never wanted to do that, and I don't know. I don't know if LeBron, or well, I don't know how Bronny feels about it, but I don't think LeBron brought Bronny there just to sit there. I don't like, eventually, is there going to be pressure applied to JJ Redick, who is a LeBron hire, to play Bronny? That's certainly something to be a little nervous about because Bronny isn't ready for that. But talking about just Bronny specifically and what we've seen from him lately, it has been tangible improvement throughout the run of these summer leagues, starting in California, in that California Classic, and then obviously playing in Vegas, where the last two games especially, LeBron has looked like a top 4 to 6-ish player playing in those games. Maybe as high as 3, but I think 4 to 6 on average over the last couple of games. I think he is always going to look better when his teammates look better because he is not a scorer and meaning he can't break people off of the dribble and get to the basket on his own, right? So he kind of needs a little bit of help, and as his teammates are better equipped to help him, he will look better that way. Also, because of his impact is, especially early, going to look better on the defensive side than on the offensive side. When you have better teammates out there that you don't have to make up for defensively, or as everybody is defending better, he's also going to look better. That also continues to help. So I think between his teammates kind of figuring it out, him kind of figuring it out, I don't think it's a coincidence that once the crowds kind of dissipated, and the focus and he couldn't quite hear the silences, and the oof, when he was when he was playing. You could hear the crowd kind of pulling for him, and players can feel that. Like you can feel that. And I don't think it's a coincidence once those crowds went away that Bronny started playing a little bit better because he looked a little bit more relaxed and confident and comfortable out there. And then also just from a talent perspective, like I don't think he's an NBA player right now, but the vast majority of those guys out there aren't NBA players right now. So once he kind of figured out, like, well, you guys are working on shit too. Well, all right, let's do this. Like, let's do this thing. And I think, he has the talent, he has the skills to at least be as good as most of the players that he's going to face in summer league. Whether that will carry and translate into the next level, probably not. But it doesn't work like almost no 55th picks are able to translate immediately into NBA play or able to handle NBA play immediately. So as long as those expectations from LeBron and the team are realistic and fans are also realistic, then I think it could work out for Bronny. But I'm very happy that he has looked better. The defense has improved, even though it was solid in the beginning. It's now like legitimately good by summer league standards, I think now. And then the offense, he's knocked down a couple threes, which I think really helps. Even though I don't think he's going to be much of a shooter, at least for a little while. But it opened up the rest of his game. He's able to get to the basket. He's able to take advantage of that length. I think he's still learning. We saw this with Ingram early in his career, where those of you who listened to Pete and me back at the back at Locked On Lakers, I spent a lot of time. He and I spent a lot of time talking about Ingram, like seeing what his body is actually capable of. Like Pete used the phrase, Brandon Ingram was exploring his body out there on the basketball court, and I was like, pause. Even though pause wasn't a thing yet, but we like that idea of we're all kind of watching Bronny figure it out. And it's that scene from every superhero movie where they get their powers and they're like, all right, well, let's see how far I can jump here. And in the first Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, he's jumping from building to building and he's going way up there like that. I think Bronny right now is still kind of seeing how far, his wingspan can stretch offensively. He knows he can take advantage of it defensively, but your wingspan can really help offensively. And I think he's kind of figured out some of that. The handles aren't still quite there. The instincts are pretty good on offense. For the most part, it's just kind of knocking down open shots as he has been more and more open, and then allowing that to expand his game from there. And it's been fun to watch him kind of figure that out. But you're right; it's a good question to hold me to account when I was pretty down on Bronny early on. And I'm still not saying that I want, like, anybody who was saying like, oh, Bronny can, is part of the reason why the Lakers are part of the reason to be optimistic about the Lakers this year. He isn't. Like, he's just not. And hoping for that from him is unfair to him. So let's just let him come along at his own pace. Let's back off and now that we've seen some success, I think we can all take a deep breath. And then, eventually I would like to arrive at a place where we could just talk about him, the basketball player. That'd be great. Like that's I think almost anybody is hoping for, is for him to be good enough we can just talk about Bronny James, the basketball player, the Los Angeles Lakers, or the Los Angeles Laker, and we'll hopefully we'll get there sooner rather than later. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here before we really start having those internet issues the way that we had them the other day. This is going to go right up onto the feed. So if you guys are listening to this in podcast form, please do hit subscribe to wherever it is that you get your podcast. And then if you guys are watching live, especially on Twitter, head on over to youtube.com/@LakersLounge to subscribe there. If you guys are watching live on YouTube now, please hit that subscribe button there. And then, really importantly, tell your friends about the show. Tell your friends you hate it, or nope. Tell your friends you love it. Tell your enemies that you hate it, and that this guy is the worst. He is constantly talking about vacation. His internet is terrible. He's fat. He's ugly. he looks shaggy because he's not shaving while he's on vacation. Tell them all of that stuff, and so long as they're your enemies, and they'll tune in just to spite you. But no, I appreciate the support. I was out with some friends at a bar last night, had somebody come up and meet me in public with my friends, and that was a cool moment. So shouts, I'm not going to say your name live on the show, but shouts to that listener. That kind of stuff means a lot. And have a great rest of your day, everybody. Whew, man, hold on, get a stay here.